Welcome to the Cannabis Regulation Commission. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023. The time is 2:05 p.m. and we are in the Building and Safety Boardroom at 201 North Figueroa Street, 9th floor, Los Angeles, California. I am Vice President Mason, and I will be chairing this meeting until President On arrives. The following commissioners are present: Commissioner Farmby, Figueroa Villa, and Lim. DCR's Interim Executive Director, Michelle Garakian, is also present in this meeting, along with members of the department and the City Attorney's Office. I'm going to go over some general housekeeping items before we get started. This meeting is being recorded. Therefore, we ask that when addressing the commission, you speak close to the microphone and only one person at a time. Please state your name each time you speak. Members of the public who wish to only listen to the commission meeting and not provide public comment may call council phone at 213-621-2489 or 818-904-9450. This meeting is also being live streamed. Individuals who wish to watch this meeting may do so by visiting cannabis.lacity.gov and clicking on the About menu item on the top. Under the About menu, click the Commission Meetings link. Scroll down to the bottom of the Commission Meetings page to find the live stream. We will be following the agenda order. Agendas are located on the table by the entrance door along with speaker cards. Individuals who are physically here and wish to address this commission must fill out a speaker's card and specify which item or items you are going to speak on. Individuals can provide public comment or comments about a specific agenda item in person or virtually via the Zoom link provided on the agenda. If you are present at the meeting, please fill out a speaker card and turn it in to Uribe or Josie. When I call your name, please come up to the podium and clearly state your name. If you are in the Zoom call, when the item you wish to speak on is called, press *9 to get on the speaking queue. The commission executive assistant will call out each speaker by the last 4 digits of their phone number to identify the caller. The caller will be prompted to unmute themselves by dialing *6. We will consider general public comment and single or multiple agenda items together. Therefore, speakers will have 1 minute for general public comment and 1 minute per item with a maximum of 2 minutes for multiple items. In total, an individual speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes of public comment per meeting. We ask that speakers state whether they are providing general public comment and or which item or items they are speaking on before they begin to comment, so that staff can appropriately time them. If the speaker does not specify which items they are speaking on, 1 minute will be provided. PowerPoint presentations that were prepared by staff will be presented to the commission today and were made available to the public via a link on the specific agenda item. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate so as not to disturb the proceedings. Please be respectful. Disruptions will not be tolerated. If you disrupt the proceedings, you will receive 2 warnings. If you continue the disruptive behavior, you will be asked to leave the meeting. We will now open general public comment and single or multiple agenda items. Speakers can address the commission on non-agenda related items that are within the jurisdiction of the commission or provide public comment for items in today's agenda. If you are listening on a live stream and have called to provide public comment via Zoom, please mute the live stream audio before you begin speaking to eliminate feedback. We will alternate between calling up individuals here at the meeting and those on the call. Please bear with us.
If anyone wishes to provide public comment, please dial *9. Caller with phone number ending in 4564, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on. Caller with phone number ending in 4564, please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
My name is Kathy Morphopoulos, and I wanted to give a
Ma'am,
general
can you
comment, please.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes.
We cannot hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes?
My name is Kathy Morphopoulos, and I wanted to speak on general public comment.
Sure, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I wanted to speak in support of the AB 1207 bill, which is in front of the legislator. It's Cannabis Candy Child Safety Act, which will protect children from cannabis packaged that to be attractive to children. So I wanted to speak that I support that. And also, I wanted to support the tightening of the medical marijuana cards, like Colorado has done for the under 21. 18 is the age that you can get medical marijuana, but the way that we're issuing medical marijuana cards is so loose as to be, basically a joke. So I support tightening the medical marijuana cards being issued to under 21. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm finished talking. Thanks.
If anyone wishes to provide public comment, please dial *9. Vice President Mason, it looks like we have no other callers on the line.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Both the general public comment agenda item and the single or multiple agenda item periods are now closed. We move on to item number 1 on the agenda, which is the election of officers. We have the election of officers in today's agenda. Is there a motion for Commission President?
Make a motion. Make a motion for Cyrus Mason. Commission President.
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Treviso, please call the roll.
Commissioner Farmby, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Figueroa Villa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Lim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice President Mason, how do you vote?
Aye.
The vote is 4-0 and the motion passes. Congratulations, President Mason.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a motion for Commission Vice President? I move for Commissioner Figueroa Villa.
I second that motion.
Ms. Treviso, please call the roll.
President Mason, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Lim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Farmby, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Figueroa Villa, how do you vote?
Yes, thank you.
The vote is 4-0 and the motion passes. Congratulations, Vice President Figueroa Villa.
All right. Commissioners, you should have an advanced calendar in front of you with our future meeting dates. Please take a look and advise if there are any planned absences from any of the commissioners.
September 21, I just abstain. October 5, abstain.
Please state your name.
Commissioner Lim.
Commissioner Lim, can you repeat those dates, please?
Sure. September 21 and October 5. I'll be in Spain.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing I'm changing on mine calendar is September 7th. It's a no.
Thank you.
Moving on to approval of minutes. We were sent the minutes of February 23rd, 2023 for review. Do I have a motion to approve?
Madam President, may I suggest that we move the approval of the minutes of February 23rd, 2023 to the next meeting when all commissioners have listened to the audio?
Okay,
Thank you.
then we are moving on to commission announcements and updates. Commissioners, are there any announcements and updates?
There's actually minutes of May 25th on the,
You're correct. I stand corrected. Moving on to approval of minutes of May 25th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
Does Commissioner Lamb motion to approve?
I second it.
Ms. Treviso, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lim, how do you vote?
Yes. Approval.
Thank you. Vice President Figueroa Villa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Farmby, how do you vote?
I abstained. I was not a member of the commission at that time for this agenda item.
Thank you. President Mason, how do you vote?
I approve. I do have a procedural question. Shouldn't Commissioner Lim abstain as well?
Lim was present at that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the vote is 3-0 and the motion passes.
Now we're moving on to commission announcements and updates. Commissioners, are there any announcements and updates? Hearing none, we are moving on to future agenda item requests. Commissioners, are there any future agenda item requests? Hearing none, we are moving on to item 2 on the agenda, the report from the interim executive director. Ms. Garakian, do you have a report?
Yes, I do, Ms. President. Madam President. I just want to say congratulations to President Mason. You've been with us a very long time. This department is very excited about your leadership. I'm personally very excited about your leadership. You are engaged. You represent the needs, the desires, and you advocate for this community like I've never seen before. So I think it makes sense. We're going to miss Commissioner On, who, by the way, got pulled over on his way to the meeting. So he's finally making his way here, but got pulled over for a traffic stop. So he's very upset about that. And he looks forward to being here very soon. But we're overjoyed. And Commissioner Villa, also, we are also overjoyed. I mean, your reputation in this city on previous commissions, it's glowing, and we're so happy to have this commission led by 2 wonderful women. So we can't wait. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I know we're going to hear a lot of great ideas. And also, I'd like to, part of my talking points here, I just added that last minute, but I'd also like to welcome Commissioner Farmby, who was recently appointed by Mayor Bass and confirmed by council. We've gotten to know Commissioner Farmby. We spent a lot of time with him so far. He just met all of our staff this morning in a staff meeting. Also very excited, sir, to be working with you. And I'm personally happy to see that there is a replacement for the labor component on this commission, because I think that's so absolutely necessary for the workforce and for the businesses in this community. So also super excited for your ideas, excited for your leadership. I'm just excited all around for this commission. It's really exciting. DCR just celebrated its 6th year. It's been a long road, but we've come a long way. It's been a long road, but we've come a long way. And I am excited to work with this newly elected commission to continue to push the DCR forward in a way that benefits our stakeholders and our social equity cannabis entrepreneurs. Next, please. So we're going to talk about administration today, commercial cannabis activity and economic impact. We're going to talk about Mayor Bass's Executive Director number 4 and legislative activities and communications. So a new department faces a lot of challenges, not only setting up policy, but also with internal processes leading to a successful department. And now we finally have that staffed up. In the audience, you're going to find members of our administration team, our admin team, which has been fully staffed for the first time in our department. It is actually a fully staffed team. Zach, of course, is the CMA over that department, and he has 2, 3, 5 folks working for him. And these folks are so important to our operations because what they are doing is focusing on personnel, hiring, contracting, procurement, audits, if they happen, our budget, working with our team and our employees on retention and challenges, needs. This is, I cannot express how happy we are to have them on, because before Zach and his team came on, Jason and Rocky and myself were handling all of these things when we should have been doing licensing, community building, and or compliance and enforcement. So that's why things, I think, are going much more smoothly and folks can actually see that. So if you guys see Zach around, if you're here from his team, please say hello. You know, these folks are also focusing on internal protocols that approve processes, not just in our department, and internally what the staff need to focus on, but also what the supervisors need to be focusing on, like doing evaluations and reviews of our current employees and making sure that they are meeting the tasks that we set for them. You know, they're focusing on employee retention. And this is a very important point because right now we are at an 8% vacancy rate, which is wonderful. It was just in a meeting with the mayor and the GMs, some GMs yesterday, and we're about 4th on the list out of almost 40 departments. We're the 4th to have the lowest vacancy, which is incredible because a year ago we had a 71% vacancy rate. Now we have an 8% vacancy rate. And what that means is when we have people that are here in seats, they are providing the full attention to the needs of our applicants and licensees. We have folks that are doing jobs to help ensure the happiness and satisfaction of our licensees and applicants. We have more folks offering services, opportunities, advice. So I started in May 2022. This was the first thing and the only thing that I focused on along with my team. God bless you for sitting in interviews for 5 to 16 hours a day. I appreciate you, to ensure that we get folks staffed up, but we need to make sure our folks stay here. So we've done the attraction part. Now we need to ensure the retention part. And that is what makes Zach and his team so important, because now we need to look at how do we get our folks to stay so we do not have attrition, because that doesn't help anybody. So, you know, looking at a variety of different benefits, and we're collecting all sorts of input from our employees to see if there's anything they would like to recommend, more team building activities, more support in promotional opportunities, you know, anything. Open office hours, you know, meeting with our commissioners, meeting with folks in the mayor's office. I don't know, anything to keep folks here. Because I really think that it has improved the relations of this office. I really think that it has improved pretty much everything in this office. And it's also wonderful to look around and see these new faces and folks that are very mission driven. They come to work at this department for a reason. They know that they're going to have this direct impact on people's lives. And I think that's what allows us to keep us here, but we need to do more. So that's going to be my new focus. So that is that for that slide. Next slide, please. So let's talk about economic impact. This is really exciting. recently I reached out to the Office of Finance, who collects all of our cannabis tax revenues in the city. And we wanted to get an idea. The reason why I reached out to them is because I wanted to understand if tax revenue was going up or down. I wanted to see, pardon me,
What department did you say?
the Office of Finance. I wanted to see if our cannabis tax revenues were increasing or decreasing or leveling, because what that tells me as policymakers is that we may need to make some changes. If it's decreasing, people are facing trouble when they're going out of business or they're having trouble paying their taxes, payroll, et cetera. If it's increasing, it means that we're doing well. People are coming online with little challenges. What we found is that it's holding steady. But more importantly, what we were able to do is to determine that since our inception in 2018, the city has collected $467 million in tax revenue, which is a lot. We're very proud of that. I know most of our stakeholders listening to this right now, it's not going to be a beacon in their hat, but it does help provide key city services, help with folks facing homelessness, and other variety of different services that the city offers. However, we still need to be able to deliver the services that we promise. And so that is very exciting. Based on this number, we were able to determine that just based on tax revenue, it is essentially created $4.5 billion in local economic activity for the city of LA. So by doing this and demonstrating and showing these numbers here today, it shows that cannabis works. If anybody has questions about whether or not cannabis is creating jobs, if it's creating economic opportunity, if it's creating the ability for the city to fill these important gaps, I don't think that should be a question anymore. It works and it should be here. And part of this slide is to demonstrate that we need to continue providing these services for our businesses and to support them as much as possible, because these businesses are supporting critical city services. Not to mention that, but putting money in folks' pockets. So what's missing from this slide is the job impact, the full-time jobs, the part-time jobs. I'm exploring some partnerships with universities about demonstrating how many jobs have been created since the development of our regs. I think that will really paint a nice picture here to demonstrate what impact cannabis has had in our city and how that is positive. So next slide, please. Hopefully I'm making sense here. Okay. I'm excited to talk about Mayor Bass's executive directive. So Mayor Bass, our new mayor, she's just doing such a terrific job. Like my mind is blown every day, just listening to her, watching her, reading her press releases, et cetera. She just released this executive directive number 4. It seeks to identify and address the barriers that small businesses face. In the mayor's directive, several city departments, including DCR, have been invited to create new or streamline existing processes with the goal of creating of business creation and growth. We are so fully 100% on board with this. We are so very excited. I look at this as a wonderful vehicle to usher in new policy ideas for our businesses. And what I mean by that is looking at our current processes on how we could possibly, make them better, shorten them, eliminate some unnecessary rules and regs if possible. Jason's not looking at me right now, but that's the way I'm thinking. How do we make it easier for our cannabis businesses? I know sometimes this could be a very politically sticky issue, but cannabis businesses are small businesses, period. And the way that we define what a small business is in the city of LA is they're under 500 employees. Yes, that is a small business. Most cannabis businesses do not probably have more in some cases than 30. So these are the small businesses. These are the mom and pops. These are the folks putting their blood, sweat, and energy into their business to make it work. And I am so excited that the mayor is committed to seeing their success. We are working in 2 working groups that have been set up as far as the ED4 directive. One is looking at our contracting process, and the other is opening and starting a business. So we've been able to put together a multi-page document of fantastic ideas, which I hope to be considered by the mayor. some new stuff, some old stuff, but all with the intent of providing a better service for our applicants and our licensees that are going through this process. So legislative update. That you? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Next, Aaron. I want to talk about some exciting bills. SB 51, this is a critical bill that would retroactively extend the state's provisional licensing application deadline beyond March 31st. This bill has been doing really well. The city of LA has supported this bill. This mayor supports this bill. We are doing everything we can to hopefully ensure its passage. Right now, it passed the Assembly Businesses and Professions Committee, and it's going for a vote, hopefully in the Assembly Appropriations Committee. And then fingers crossed to the governor's desk. So that would be a wonderful, wonderful relief for some of our social equity applicants who especially just got a lottery ticket last year and are waiting to go through this process. AB 1565 is another fantastic bill. It would provide $15 million to the state of California's DCC effective July 1st, 2028, and every fiscal year thereafter for social equity programs and assistance. The bill is currently in the Senate Appropriations Committee, where it has passed its first vote on July 6th. The mayor concurred with the city council in adoption of a resolution for this bill. This is a no-brainer, very helpful. SB 512, it's also a very exciting bill. I'm going to try not to opine too much on this, but this is focusing on removing the excise tax on gross receipts. The bill successfully passed through the Senate and was referred to the Assembly's Revenue and Tax Committee on the 15th. The City Council has introduced a resolution in support of this bill. I believe it's going to the Rules Committee on August 19th. I'm not sure of the status right now, but I think our applicants and licensees would like to see this pass. Next, please. Okay, we have some communications and community engagement stuff. We have been sending out a lot of comms. I'm sure everybody has been getting them between the Cannabis Dispatch, which Dr. Brown's going to talk about, that comes out from the SEP team, or from the DCR news bulletin, to the various different blasts on upcoming events, either that are taking place in 2 days or within 1 hour, which has been really helpful. And I actually really like that touch of reminding folks about our events. But we have our news bulletins going out. What we really focus on doing in the past few months is highlighting our social equity entrepreneurs. We want to be able to tell their story because it's really quite incredible. And we also want folks to go and visit their shop and shop local. On our website, there is a new retail map that is essentially a Google API map. And you can find legal businesses, and you can also find businesses that are owned by social equity applicants. So, you know, if you choose to shop a little bit more mission oriented, that's available to you. We have been sending our quarterly reports to the council offices, where we include very special information for them about their district, who's received temporary approval, pending licenses, et cetera, et cetera. We've also increased our social media engagement by a lot. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, I believe we're on Twitter. No, not yet, not Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now. But we've been getting a lot of really good feedback, and we did that, I want to say last July. Okay, December, totally off there. But it's very important because it's another way for us to communicate with our applicants and licensees. And I think people really appreciate that. And you're going to see a lot of things that go out on our social that are just simple reminders, which are helpful. So I want to thank the communications team and the social equity team for doing such a wonderful job on that. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting. Are we entertaining questions now?
Certainly.
Okay. Commissioner Figueroa.
Yeah, Michelle, I just wanted to thank you for really looking at the budget, because I get asked that all the time when I go to a shop, and and what I'm being told is that if people really understood where the money's going, they wouldn't mind paying the taxes. If they knew it's gonna go to homelessness or youth development and blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad you brought that up and you talked a little bit about that. The question I have is when you're talking to council members about what we're doing, or just the cannabis issue in general, what kind of support do you get? Or
Cannabis-
comments, because I know there's a lot that, I mean, some council members who won't, who still have their judgments
Yeah, old
about
school
cannabis
ways,
in the
yeah.
city. And I understand it, because of how, we grew up to understand how it was back in the day. So I understand it. So what type of support do you get?
I will say that we should all be very thankful for this new breath of youth
Okay.
into the city council. It has been really refreshing. The viewpoints around cannabis and cannabis use are very different. They're not as stigmatized. So it's been really great actually meeting with folks like Eunices and Hugo, who have a totally different perspective of cannabis. They look at it as an opportunity, not a threat. But they want to make sure it's done safely. So that's been really fantastic. And I think that because we have so many new council members that think so differently about cannabis, it's almost like bringing the others up or kind of along for a different perspective and opinion. So I'm telling you, it's night and day between 2021 and now. And when we speak with folks, they're actually like excited to talk to us. Usually when I send folks an email asking for a meeting, it's like, oh no. But now it's like, okay, cannabis, what can we talk with them about? How can we think about opportunities, et cetera. So much better. Yeah.
No other questions?
Well, thank you, Ms. Garakian, for your report. This is President Mason for those of you who are listening in. As you know, I'm particularly excited by Executive Directive 4 because I had some thoughts of my own and it happened to happen simultaneously. So great minds have converged across the miles. And there are some particular areas I'd like for us to focus on. I won't go into them today unless you want me to, because I would like to send a letter to the department and copy the commissioners and outline my areas of concern at that
Excellent.
time. So thank you for your report.
Yeah. And we truly can't wait. We're very excited. I think ED4 and your leadership and I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a lovely new day.
A lovely new day. Thank you. Item number 3 on the agenda is a report from DCR on the Social Equity Program. Is there a presentation from Dr. Brown?
Yes. Here, Dr. Brown, why don't you sit here? Yeah, move over here. Maybe we should help with- Thank you.
And I just lost my presentation. Excuse me, guys, one moment. Let me get it. Alrighty. Something's going on with my laptop. I don't know what's going on here. Not letting me get into the internet. I just had it open. Let's try again here. Don't know what's going on. Sorry, folks. I don't know what's going on here. Let me try here. I had it just until I came up here. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Weird.
Dr. Brown?
Do you want to
Wait,
have
sorry.
Jason go before me? Yeah. One sec. I'm sorry, everybody.
This is President Mason. While Dr. Brown is addressing her technical difficulties, we're going to move on to agenda item 4, which is a report from DCR on the licensing program. Is there a presentation from staff?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jason Kleen, Assistant Executive Director. Thank you for having me this afternoon. Next slide. So today's presentation will go over some of our licensing numbers by phase and the status of the record. Next slide. So currently we have approximately 1,400 different businesses within the DCR pipeline. And from this chart, you can see where the business is at within our licensing scheme. We have over 883 business premises that have temporary approval to operate and engage in various commercial cannabis activities. Across those businesses, and many of them are vertically integrated, we've issued over 1,400 distinct commercial cannabis licenses. We have another 261 businesses that are in our application queue with the status of local compliance underway, which means they have authorization from DCR to pursue a state license. And then we have another 229 business premises locations that are in our pre-application review process. So one of the things that our directors have done is they've broken up the application process to assist social equity applicants and to reduce the holding cost. So the pre-application review process allows for folks to pay a set fee to find out whether or not their proposed business premises location complies with the zoning and distancing requirements in the municipal code before they make business decisions to secure a location. And what the director has done is she's given them the opportunity to go through that process. And if they are eligible for further processing, they have up to 1 year to submit their application. So they can basically go through the process, find out if their location is compliant, and then they can start to make business decisions. They can negotiate a lease. They can look for other owners to invest in their company before they submit the application. One of the other things the director has done is we've created this legal business entity record, which allows for prospective applicants to basically go through a verification process for their business entity, including the equity share review. So they can take care of all that documentation and review before they secure a location and actually have to submit the application. So for our social equity applicants, what we're trying to encourage is for them to take bite-sized chunks at it and not rush into making business decisions and kind of move at their own pace. For the businesses that are ready to move forward, we've created 4 distinct teams. One is focused on the pre-application review process. We have another team that's focused on the legal business entity record and validating those entities. We have a team working on the equity share review, and then we have a team processing the application. So instead of having one analyst work on a record, soup to nuts, we have 4 different teams that are working at it in different processes so that the folks that are really ready can move through the process quickly. And for the folks that need to make business decisions kind of step by step, they can move through the process at their own pace without the risk of the record being deemed abandoned. So we're very encouraged by these numbers. We are moving them through in accordance with the step-by-step process. Next slide, please. This is the actual breakdown of licenses by type. And a lot of our application records, over a third of our market and licenses issued, are actually to social equity applicants, which is a big deal because 1, we're the largest market within the United States. And then 2, when we started this program in 2018, we had no social equity businesses. We had grandfathered businesses that were provided the opportunity to get the first bite at the apple. And then the social equity program and the eligibility verification was rolled out in 2019. So to have 1/3 of our market represented by social equity entrepreneurs is a pretty big milestone. And our goal is to push that number up to about 50% by 2025. Next slide, please. And as the director said, just for context purposes, we are trying to illustrate the breakdown between general businesses and social equity businesses so that folks can better understand the progress we've made in this and how we're achieving that goal of trying to get 50% of the market share for social equity applicants. So as you can see, across the license types, about 1/3 are associated with the social equity businesses. About 1/3 of our retail storefronts that are licensed are social equity businesses, and all of our non-storefront delivery businesses are social equity businesses because that license type came on board after council had made a decision to limit it to social equity applicants through January 1st of 2025. Next slide, please. For our new commissioners, Michelle had spent the better part of a year working with council and stakeholders to update our ordinances to make it more business friendly and to help expedite the process. Prior to these amendments getting adopted, folks had to go through a number of processes before they were eligible to submit their annual application. The state had phased out their provisional licenses, and the last day to issue a new provisional license was June 30th of 2023. So all applicants at the state now have to go through the state's annual application process. That created problems for us at the local level because you can't have a complete state annual license application until you've been issued a local annual license. So having people go through a bunch of processes that were now outdated and would slow them down didn't make sense. So Michelle worked really closely with stakeholders, this commission, the council offices, and the mayor's office to make structural amendments to allow people to go directly from the pre-application review process into the annual application process so they didn't have to increase those holding time costs, and we could move them forward and get them to the place where they could get the state what they needed to move forward with the state. We do have a dual licensing requirement here in the state of California. So you do have to possess a state license and a local license in order to operate. So if you have one but not the other, you can't do business. So trying to get people as far along in our process as quickly as possible so that they can get into the state queue and then get those licenses around the same time is very important to us. Next slide, please. All of these different changes actually went into effect in early June of this year. So we've been working tirelessly to update our rules and regulations, our forms, our website, our internal processes to help move people along. Beginning May 1st, we launched the annual licensing application process. Everybody who had a temporary approval license and had a legal business entity record was transitioned into that process. And then in June, we started transition the other businesses. At this point, we've transitioned over 1,000 records to our annual application process. And earlier this month, we started to issue the draft notices of exemption, which is the required environmental document that folks will have to provide to the state for their annual license application. The state amended their regulations in July to then require existing provisional licensees to provide evidence of a categorical exemption or other environmental document in order to renew their provisional license. So the issuance of these draft NOEs gives our existing licensees the evidence that they need to provide to the state to show that they've made significant progress. And we've updated our statuses with the state from local compliance underway to pending approval for those environmental documents. Now, there's two routes for the different license types. For the retail storefront businesses, all of those licensing determinations will come to this commission. In order to bring one of those recommendations to this commission, first, we're going to have to deem those applications complete, which includes having all of the environmental documentation. We will have to schedule a community meeting based on the geographic area where that business is. Then staff will summarize those community meeting findings and bring a full staff report to this commission for a public hearing. The other license types will go to the director. And for those license types, they not have to be distanced from schools, or they have to be distanced from schools, but not other sensitive uses like parks, drug and alcohol treatment facilities, daycares, et cetera. So the requirements for those businesses is less, and it doesn't require a community hearing based on our code. So we anticipate bringing some of those licenses to the director for review and hopefully approval later this month. And then once that happens, we'll be able to file those notices of exemption with the county to initiate the sequel review and appeal process for them. And then once that appeal period is ended, it's considered a final decision. And then the state will accept that documentation for their purposes. So we're really looking forward to starting to move people into that process. And then hopefully we'll start to present some of our staff findings for the retail storefronts to this body later this year. Next slide. So there were several those subdivisions that were created within the municipal code. Basically, in following in parallel with the state, we're phasing out temporary approval applications because that application type is no longer helpful to our applicants. Getting them into the annual application type or annual application record is the most important so that they can get all the documentation that they need to get their local annual license and their state annual license. We did extend the renewal period for existing temporary approvals through 2027. So that gives folks the opportunity to continue to operate with the temporary license while they work to get their local operating permit and their state annual license. So this gives them time to comply with the public health permits, building permits, fire permits, and the changes that they may need to make to their facility for those agencies in order to comply and get permits for those from those agencies. We stopped accepting new temporary approval applications at the end of July. Again, giving somebody temporary approval in and of itself doesn't help them. So getting them into the annual application process and moving them forward in that process is really what we need to do at this point. Any record that's deemed abandoned will have to be refiled as an annual application so that they can, of course, meet the local licensing requirements and the state requirements. Next slide. So as I mentioned, any of the temporary approval applications that are deemed abandoned have to be refiled as an annual application after July 1st. The director pushed to give folks the opportunity to refile over a period of time. So instead of only giving them 1 year to refile, it's been extended to 3 years. This gives people more time to find compliant locations and not rush into business decisions. Also, for the first time, the city has included the option for expired licenses to be refiled within 3 years of the date that the license expired. We do know that there are challenges to find compliant properties as well as landlords that are willing to lease to these businesses. So we've had for a number of years, licensees come to us to say, my landlord is selling the building and the new owner doesn't want to lease to a cannabis business or something happens. And we don't want these businesses, especially our social equity businesses, to lose their opportunity just because another business makes a business decision. So this gives them at least the opportunity to come back into the process and pursue those licenses and those opportunities at a later date. The annual application process is currently open to all applicants that complete the pre-application review process. The inspection requirements have shifted until after we've made the licensing decision to issue an annual license. That's important because we kind of had a cart and a horse issue where our local regs originally required people to get their state annual license in order to meet our requirements to get the local annual license. And the state changed their law to require us to issue the local annual license before they would issue their license. So one of us had to give. And Michelle was really good about making sure that we budged at the local level. So what that meant was we can make the determination to issue the annual license, adopt the environmental findings, give them the opportunity to meet the state's requirements, building and safety and health permit requirements, and then come back and request a final inspection to get their operating permit to utilize their local license. So that's how we navigated that process. And in order to make sure that folks were complying with all the rules and permitting requirements without getting them into a situation where they couldn't succeed in either process. So at this point, a business with an annual license can operate with temporary approval, which is a temporary license, or for the folks that have passed their final inspection and met all the permitting requirements can get their operating permit and then begin to operate using their annual license. Next slide. We're in the process of updating our updated rules and regulations, which are going to adopt, reflect a bunch of adopted changes, streamlining that we've done in the process, document consolidation to help make applicants more successful in our process. The forms that have been updated are just going through ADA compliance review right now and will hopefully be posted to our website soon. Our portal has been updated to allow folks to transition to the annual application process from the pre-app process, regardless of when the pre-app was created or deemed eligible for further processing. And again, the executive director may start approving annual licenses at the end of this month or later this summer. And then, of course, we hope to bring some of those recommendations to this commission later this fall. Next slide. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm available for questions.
This is President Mason. Thank you, Assistant Director Colleen, for your presentation. I have a question. The period of exclusivity for social equity applicants ends in 2025, correct? Okay. And then we are extending temporary approval application submission until 2027?
The renewal of existing tempers, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So am I sensing that there will be a 2-year period of just open competition here?
It wouldn't be possibly.
Okay.
For the temporary approval piece,
Mhm.
the goal was to give our businesses, especially the social equity applicants, the opportunity to operate with the temporary license while they work to meet the operating permit requirements. So because some of them have to do tenant improvements to satisfy other agencies, and they can't begin that process until they get their annual license, we wanted to make sure that we extended that temporary license out for a sufficient period to give them effectively 2 years at least
Mhm.
to meet those other permitting requirements. For the things that are limited to social equity applicants, such as the retail storefront, to the extent the director gets the approval to conduct another lottery, we would exhaust the by right application slots for the retail storefront activity. And then any additional retail storefront applications would go through the city's public convenience or necessity process, which then gives the city council the discretion to authorize DCR to process an application. So it could happen where if we aren't given the opportunity to conduct the lottery and to make those application slots available, you could have a situation where social equity applicants are competing with general applicants for those opportunities.
I see. That's what I thought. Thank you. So at some point, will there be any consideration for providing wraparound or navigational support services for our social equity community if the market is thrown into that state of flux?
I mean, Dr. Brown has been working very diligently
She
with her
has.
team, as well as our vendors, to establish as much programming as possible to support them. As you know, the city's general fund provides an allotment for business licensing and compliance assistance, but those monies can't be used for fee waivers. They can't be used for direct financial assistance. Dr. Brown and her team have been successful in getting grant monies to provide those services. But as more jurisdictions come online and start to compete, we get fewer and fewer dollars, which makes it
yes.
harder to provide people with a substantial amount of funding to actually meet their business needs. Hopefully, and we've made budget requests in the past, and we will be doing so again in November, we will ask for general fund monies to help support our social equity applicants. And then, of course, it becomes a decision of the mayor and city council as to whether or not they have that type of funding to support our program.
Okay, thank you. And I raised that as a concern and something we can deal with proactively rather than reactively when that time comes.
Hello, President Mason. I just wanted to chime in here and say, in a perfect world, we'd have another lottery and exhaust those licenses so they'd be exclusively and only for social equity applicants. I think that's the best case scenario, and it's a scenario I've discussed with the mayor's office, of
Thank you.
course. But we'll be prepared for anything.
Thank you. Were there any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go back now to item 3 on the agenda, which is a report from DCR on the social equity program.
President Mason.
Aaron, are you ready? Thank you. We had a little technical difficulty here. Good afternoon, commissioners, and I want to say a welcome to Commissioner Barmby. We're really looking forward to working with you. And this was a very exciting day for you to participate in our staff meeting. So thank you very much. Today, I'm going to share a summary of our business licensing and compliance programs, accomplishments, and deliverables. I'll provide some updates on the Cannabis Equity Grant for local jurisdiction, the Seed Grant Rental Assistance Program funds, and the allocations to date, the Pro Bono and Low Bono Services, Legal Services Program, our Workforce Development Initiative, and up and coming initiatives. Next slide, please. I always like to remind this body and the public of the mission of the Social Equity Program, which is to promote equitable ownership and employment opportunities in the cannabis industry in order to decrease disparities in life outcomes for the marginalized communities and to address the disproportionate impacts of the failed war on drugs in those communities. Next slide. I'd like to share some highlights and accomplishments of our technical assistance program. Next slide, Erin. Thank you. Our BLC program, the benefits and resources include application processing, our business licensing, compliance, and technical assistance programs, pro bono, low bono legal services, workforce development, our seed rental assistance grant, and our job board. Now in 2022, we launched 2 new programs, our pro bono and low bono legal services and the seed rental assistance grant programs. Now both programs have become vehicles to provide financial support to hundreds of verified social equity applicants and licensees. In addition to those programs, we recently launched our new and improved job board for our business licensing and compliance website. The BLC program is designed to provide the resources and training to applicants and licensees to help them navigate the licensure processes, allow entrepreneurs to stand up their businesses, and it provides training for workforce development initiatives. It also offers financial and legal assistance to ensure business stability and compliance. Next slide. Now, the City of LA has issued 413 social equity licenses across 5 different activities: retail delivery, non-volatile manufacturing, distribution, and cultivation. This represents, as Jason alluded to, a third, 30%.
Dr. Brown, can I interrupt you for a second? I just want to make the announcement that Commissioner Robert On is present now. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, President On.
Thank you.
The 413 licenses represent 33% of all licenses. Our goal is to achieve half of all licenses by 2025 that will be owned and operated by social equity entrepreneurs. Next slide. Here is a snapshot of the resources and educational programs that the BLC program has provided applicants and licensees to date. Our learning management system, or LMS, is available exclusively to our verified social equity applicants. There is over 160 hours of self-paced educational content, 91 hours of live webinar content, 8 learning pathways. Now, this digital platform offers a comprehensive suite of information on topics such as marketing and branding, insurance requirements, commercial leasing and contract negotiations, track and trace, licensing procedures, cannabis technology application, workforce development training, and good faith hiring requirements, and much more. Now, in addition to our LMS programming, there were 67 applicants who were referred to our pro bono and low bono legal services program. We offer over 350 hours of one-on-one business and professional workforce development coaching. That's been very successful to our applicants and licensees. We've distributed $15 million in direct financial assistance through our seed grants program and fee waiver programs. And we continue to do public outreach as a part of our workforce development initiatives via our virtual and in-person networking events. Next slide. Our LMS learning pathways. They're the newest additional feature in the LMS suite. It was created to assist our users in navigating through our curriculum effortlessly. I'm proud to share this new feature that categorizes hundreds of hours of pre-recorded content, online courses and webinars into 3 major pathways. It's tailored for the different entrepreneurial business stages. The first one is exploratory business planning. The second is operational. The first is exploratory, the second is business planning, and the third is operational. Additional pathways include advanced courses, cannabis technology, state laws, regulations, and workforce development. Now, applicants and licensees can utilize these learning pathways to guide themselves through each stage of their business life cycle. Next slide. Our BLC website. In 2022, the SCP team developed and launched a standalone website for the Business Licensing, Compliance, and Technical Assistance Program. On this site, you're able to access the LMS, webinar registration, it has DCR updates, and more. The website houses supplemental resources such as the revamped job board, which allows job seekers to find career opportunities at licensed cannabis businesses. And it also allows our licensed operators to find social equity, local, and transitional workers. The website also functions as a portal to accessing one-on-one coaching registration. It houses our DRC monthly Cannabis Dispatch newsletter and all Cannabis Dispatch archives, video archives, and upcoming event information. Next slide. The BLC website provides a new home for all available BLC content and programming. Now, since the website's launch in 2022, the general public has the ability to remain informed on SCP news and updates by subscribing via text and email alert portals. Next slide. Cannabis Dispatch. This is our monthly newsletter. It informs verified social equity applicants and licensees on the resources and webinars offered to them, along with local, state, and national cannabis news and resources. Each newsletter is filled with new and exciting launches and events for the social equity program, including the latest workforce development resources events, like the June newsletter highlighted our most recent in-person networking mixer that was called Los Angeles Cannabis Unite. And it also spotlights up close and personal interviews with specific social equity applicants every month. Every month we try to highlight a new entrepreneur. It also helps to just give their business a nice shot of interest and enthusiasm, and it helps to market their businesses in the community. The dispatch shares timely information with the community, including, as I said, important deadlines. The DCR, it also houses the DCR Employer Toolkit, which is equipped with a user guide and updated requirements for job seekers and our virtual coaching calendar. Next slide. Our coaching services offer over 350 hours of free business, professional, and workforce development coaching with subject matter experts from a wide range of expertise. Right now, coaching is available in the following business categories. We have coaches that focus on commercial leases and negotiations. The coaches focus on contracts, and they focus on business structure. Next slide. Our workforce development training. Now, we recognize that everybody is not an entrepreneur. And we offer full suite of workforce development training for job seekers. The free coaching for job seeker includes interview training, resume review, resume writing, and assistance with mock interviews with these coaches. Now, each coach will go over with job seekers the skills required for specific careers within the licensed cannabis space, job application processing, and where to find cannabis jobs. Next slide. DCR launched our new and improved job board on May 1st, 2023, and it's available on the BLC website. The job board's function is to serve as a centralized hub for the Los Angeles cannabis operators and job seekers to find each other. Now, the newly added features allow job seekers to view job details, position descriptions, salaries, and apply, and they can just apply with the click of a button, making it simple to interact with multiple organizations at once. It also provides a peace of mind so that folks know when they're applying for a position, it's within a licensed cannabis operation. Now, for the employers, the job board is intended to support their overall staffing needs as well as aid in their ability to meet local, transitional, and social equity good faith hiring requirements. Next slide. Now, the City of Los Angeles established their good faith hiring requirements for all licensed operators. The City of LA qualifies social equity workers by the LA Municipal Code 104.20 C2 II. Now, for our existing medical marijuana dispensaries and general applicants, a licensee shall make a good faith effort to have no less than 30% of their weekly hours of the licensee's workforce performed by employees whose primary place of residence is within 5-mile radius of the business premises. A licensee shall make a good faith effort to have no less than 10% of the weekly hours of the licensee's workforce performed by employees who are transitional workers. A social equity licensed individual licensee shall make a good faith effort to have no less than 50% of the weekly hours of licensee's workforce performed by employees whose primary residence is within 5-mile radius of that premises location. Of those employees, 20% shall be social equity workers and 10% shall be transitional workers. Now, the good faith hiring requirements survey allows DCR to collect information and gain insight into the challenges faced by licensed businesses and to inform future educational programs. Now, every licensed cannabis business in the City of LA is mandated to participate in the survey and complete it annually by submitting a good faith hiring requirement report via JOT form. We've made this JOT form accessible and simple so that the analysis of each business's demographic as it relates to local, transitional, and social equity workers can be easily assessed. The first report is due February 28th of 2024. The good faith hiring requirements, I'm sorry, next slide, please, Erin. The good faith hiring report can be found in the employer toolkit along with a guide to all other employer assets on DCR's licensed employers resources page. Next slide. DCR has recently created what we call our Equity Stakeholder Advisory Committee. I'm very excited to announce that DCR has organized the first official Equity Stakeholder Advisory Committee recently. Now, the goal of this advisory group is to ascertain the efficacy of the BLC program. We seek candid feedback, suggestions, and constructive criticism from users and recipients of our resources and programs. We are looking for information that will assist us as we embark on a new business development contract cycle. Our first meeting was July 27th. We had two groups, one of 11 folks and the other of 12 from all license types except lab testing. We didn't have any representatives in the advisory group from the lab testing. We meet quarterly. So we're really looking forward to that. Next slide. Now, in order to apply for a seat on the advisory committee, applicants were required to have completed 5 hours of training in the LMS. They needed to be a recipient of at least one financial grant. They needed to attend a minimum of 3 webinars. And that was our criteria for choosing people on the committee. Next slide, please. The DCR officially launched the social media accounts on 2 platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn, which have become an essential tool for getting social equity program information out to the community. We've learned a lot about how people get their information, and we know that social media is a big part of that. So we've been able to cast a wider net in terms of our communications with the community that we serve. SEP news and updates are posted in real time to ensure that those subscribed are aware of time-sensitive topics, deadlines, and requirements. Additionally, we want to utilize this platform to encourage participation in our webinars, events, and to keep the public informed on important announcements, licensing updates, and the like. We encourage everyone to join DCR's social media page if you have not already. It's at LADCR Instagram, Facebook.com, and LADCR at LinkedIn.com. Next slide. DCR has now hosted 2 of the largest in-person events of its kind in Los Angeles. LA Cannabis Unite Summer Edition, which took place on June 17th at the historic Mayfair Hotel in downtown LA. This was part 2 of our Unite networking event series that brought the community together to commemorate and celebrate LA social equity operators in the cannabis workforce. Next slide. There were 565 attendees that participated in a variety of activations that were set up all across the hotel. We had the whole hotel for this event. The DCR Resources Room offered direct assistance from participating state agencies. We had the ALRB, Agricultural Labor and Labor Relations Board was there, as well as EDD. Attendees had access to free professional headshots, which was really very successful. The DCR licensing team was on hand to answer questions and meet many of the applicants and licensees that they serve. We were fortunate enough to have Senator Bradford and former DCR Executive Director Kat Packer was in the house, who made remarks to the community, and a special thank you to Commissioner Mason for attending and showing your support for the event. We had a great time. We are proud to have hosted another successful event to afford the community the opportunities to learn about cannabis careers, to meet industry leaders, manufacturers, cultivators, operators, licensees, and employers. It was an overwhelming success. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, and we hope to curate additional events and outreach opportunities for the community for networking in the future. Next slide. DCR provides legal services for all verified social equity applicants deemed eligible for further processing. Now, to date, we have referred 56 applicants through the LA County Bar Association Smart Law Referral Service. We have a partnership with that organization, and we encourage all who qualify to take advantage of this resource. Now, to do so, you will get a communications that to all eligible applicants by email or text. If you did not receive this communication but believe that you are eligible, please contact us at dcr.sep@lacd.org and we will assist you. Next slide. In our continuing efforts to provide support resources and services that cultivate business success, folks will be able to receive up to 30 hours of legal consultation and services at a discounted rate at $35 an hour. This is for our low bono program. Outside of this program, I know most folks, they know that attorney's fees can range from $350 to $750 an hour. So the $35 an hour is really a wonderful resource for our equity community. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of the page where you can sign up for these services. Please complete the online survey and upload the authorization agreement to complete this process. Next slide. And last but not least, I really would like to remind the commissioners that with the funding for the 2022 Cannabis Equity Grant for local jurisdictions, We developed and launched our rental assistance grant program for verified social equity applicants and licensees in September of 2022. This program is created in partnership with Elevate Impact LA, and we are distributing $5 million in two separate tiers, Tier 1 and Tier 2. This is from the last grant that we received in 2022. The seed rental assistance grant funds may be used for the following purposes: to pay rent or a security deposit pursuant to a fully executed commercial lease for the purposes of operating a licensed commercial cannabis storefront retail, or you can use the money to finance up to 1 month of back rent on a fully executed lease. You can use the funds to secure a binding letter of intent by paying the required security deposit, or you can use the funds to assist with build-out construction costs for the purposes of renovating a location to operate a licensed commercial cannabis storefront retail business. Next slide, please. Seed 1.0 utilizes $4 million of the 5 in funding to provide financial assistance for our Phase 3 Retail 1, Round 1 verified social equity applicants and licensees. That's for retail. Now, as part of the application process, we've included an educational requirement during this season for our grants. The educational requirements can be accessed through our learning management system. Folks who receive the $50,000 have to complete 3 courses on business licensing compliance. They have to complete 3 courses on business planning, leasing, and contract negotiation and licensing. They also have the option to complete an elective course outside of the suggested topics if they choose to do so. Applicants are required to complete a quiz on each subject and submit their completion certificates prior to receiving financial disbursements of up to $50K. Now, we've divided up these disbursements. The first disbursement with the course requirement, you have to take the commercial leases and contract negotiations 1 and 2 to receive the first disbursement of $25,000. The second disbursement, the course requirement is business planning and operational development to receive the second disbursement of $15K. And the third disbursement, the course requirement, as I said, is an elective as long as it's on the LMS of $10,000. Next slide. The C 2.0 rental assistance grant program has utilized $1 million in funding from the Cannabis Executive Grant for local jurisdictions to provide financial assistance to our verified equity applicants and licensees who are seeking temporary approval or a license for license types that are not retail. Again, the C 2.0 is for all other license types other than retail. They also, in order to qualify, would have had to have passed a pre-application review stage with a compliant proposed business premises. And 3, have an executed lease or a binding letter of intent for that proposed business premises. C 2.0 applicants required to fulfill just 1 educational course requirement on commercial leases and contracts negotiations parts 1 and 2 prior to receiving the grant disbursement of $10,000. Next slide. Oh, freezing cold. The department hosted a series of 4 Lunch and Learn webinars after the program's official launch that walked verified social equity applicants through the seed rental assistance grant application process line for line. The Elevate Impact team has conducted extensive outreach to applicants through one-on-one direct assistance to support them through the application and submission process. Now, our goal with this installment of the Cannabis Equity Grant is to assist qualified entrepreneurs with securing and maintaining social equity-owned compliant property and businesses. Awarding equity entrepreneurs up to $50,000 has the ability to change the trajectory of businesses that are in dire need of rental assistance right now. Next slide. Now, to date, 181 verified social equity entrepreneurs have received grants of up to $50,000 deposited directly into their bank accounts. In total, $4,415,000 has been dispersed to 181 recipients. $3,735,000 of that has been dispersed to seed 1.0 recipients, and $680,000 has been dispersed for seed 2.0 recipients. The application window opened on September 30th of 2022 and closed March 30th of 2023. Elevate Impact LA continues to work diligently to ensure that additional funds will be dispersed to applicants fulfilling their educational requirements and submitting documentation through July. Now, we hope to continue programs like this while being intentional, innovative, and aligned with our mission statement and goals. As access to capital continues to be a major barrier for equity entrepreneurs, programs like the Rental Assistance Grant Program are vital. And we're very proud of rolling out yet another successful financial resource to the equity community that we serve. And with that, I'll turn it back over to President Mason. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Brown. I
thank
don't
you.
see any questions.
All right, thank you.
We're moving on to item 5 on the agenda, which is a report from DCR on the Compliance and Enforcement Program. Is there a presentation from staff?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rocky Wiles with the Department of Cannabis Regulation over compliance and enforcement. And congratulations, President Mason and Vice President Figueroa Villa. I noticed you left. Just for the record, Vice President Villa has left the meeting. Okay, so today I'd like to report on the department's compliance and enforcement program. And for the benefit of our 2 new commissioners, just wanted to give you guys a little background. The compliance and enforcement program is fairly new. Council approved our positions last April, and subsequently the Civil Service Commission allocated those positions in August. Before the positions are allocated, of course, we couldn't start hiring. And as you heard from Jason and Michelle, the department has been vigorously hiring, and I am happy to report that our section is fully staffed. And it basically, it's a team of 5 people in the compliance and enforcement unit, which is 2 special investigators, 2 management analysts. We have a senior admin clerk who is also amazing. They're all amazing. And now we have a new supervisor who oversees that section as a senior management analyst. She also oversees our new records management section, which is also another new section in our department. And I also oversee the commission, as you know. So that's part of the structure of the this new division. Okay, next slide, please, Aaron. So as I've mentioned before in these meetings, we are developing different aspects of our program, the procedures, the forms, staff training, while still addressing complaints and carrying out investigations, developing training for our own operators to satisfy the regulations, which do require operators to go through training. So we have developed that. Also developing content, for our website, communications, and also liaising with other agencies. So part of my function in this department is to liaise with other agencies that have a hand in compliance and enforcement. The departments that we regularly meet with are Building and Safety, Office of Finance, Fire Department, Police Department, DWP, County Health, the DCC, the investigations side of DCC, CDTFA, which is the State Department over Tax and the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. I think that's what it is. And also the mayor's office. We have meetings every 2 months, but as things are ramping up, we probably will start having monthly meetings as well as one-on-one meetings with any of these agencies. Let's see. Well, for me, it would be high accomplishment if we could actually, and I know I mentioned this a lot because I really, really want this to happen, is to be able to use, the resources that we have, because we're all doing the same inspections a lot of the times as far as compliance. The state and we have some of the same regulations. So it is my hope that at some point in the future that we can combine these resources, because as you know, the state is also very short-staffed. So it would be great. So that's one of the things that I plan on working on as long as I'm in this department. So what you see on the on your screen there is the goals of, as we go forward. This is what I'd like to always keep, in the forefront. We want to be proactive. We want to be transparent, clear, responsive, and collaborative. And my staff does work and follows these goals day in and day out, super responsive. Unfortunately, because, the department has been around for quite a while and we're just now starting to implement this program, we do have a lot of catch up to do. So we're, I think, in this reactive mode right now where we, see a complaint, we do an investigation, and, we have to take action. But in the years to come, months to come, we hope to transition into a more proactive role in this department. Next slide. So I'd like to talk about just our progressive enforcement. So the concept behind the progressive enforcement is to escalate enforcement measures to gain compliance. So as demonstrated in this slide, what you see is the proposed enforcement strategy. So this is not set in stone, and these are parameters to guide how we will try to operate and implement the program, and also to empower staff when making the decisions that we have to make. So the way that we're envisioning this program to work is we basically start with a licensee attestation. We have required, and it's in our regulations, that all our operators sign and return to us an attestation that basically confirms that they have received, read, and promised to abide by the operational regulations. We are still in the process of collecting some of these forms from our operators. Our regulations do state that they are due within 30 days of the beginning of operations. So that is, one of the tasks that our staff has to follow up on. Another part of the program is to do outreach. So this is where we work with our comms team to try to reach out to our operators, let them know about deadlines that are coming up, requirements with compliance. We hope that our operators do read our communications, because we do send quite a few, and it's for their benefit, and they'll be receiving as this new program develops, they'll be receiving even more communications from us. So I encourage people that are listening to read these communications, because there will be some consequences for not following our regulations. In the case that we receive a complaint, we may contact the operator just as a heads up, basically, letting them know that there's an alleged complaint. The reason I want to do this is, to just give them an opportunity to look at their business, to see if they're complying, because staff will go out there to verify if there is a violation. And if there is a violation, we will have to take action, whether it's a notice to correct, which doesn't carry any penalties. But if it is something that, it's egregious, we're going to have to issue a notice of violation. These notice of violations carry very high fees, fines that range between $7,000 to $42,000, something in that arena. So, that is, it's a huge cost for these operators. There is an appeal process that is available to them, but again, that's staff time, that's their time. So our goal is always to gain compliance in the most efficient and fast way that is not costly to our operators. Next slide. This is just the attestation that the operators are required to submit back to us. Next slide. So another part of the program is to ensure that the businesses that are operating are evaluated by the health department and receive their health permit. So having a health department permit means that the operator has complied and received all the required approvals from the city, county, and the state. In addition, the retail businesses must also obtain an emblem placard that is to be displayed at the business. The emblem placard program is facilitated in coordination with the with LA County. Specifically, it is the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program. They conduct the health and safety inspections for the city of LA per an executed agreement. And only the retail cannabis businesses can participate in the emblem placard program. However, all commercial cannabis businesses are required to obtain this permit from the Department of Public Health prior to DCR's issuance of the operating permit. We will be sharing more specific information in the next couple of months about how the health department permits will affect renewals, because the county, the county are very good partners, and they're also, committed to getting all these, all our businesses permitted. So in that spirit, they actually came up with the site evaluation process, which is, it's an alternative process to getting a health permit. Getting a health permit, it does take quite a bit of time for, if you have a restaurant, you're supposed to submit plans to the health department. They look at them, they give you corrections, it's back and forth. Eventually you do get your permit. This site evaluation process basically avoids the submission of plans. They will, as long as you have your business premises has been permitted by the Department of Building and Safety, they will go out there and evaluate it basically on a field visit and cut out, it cuts out the plan check requirements. So I do encourage our operators that are listening to contact us or the health department to make that appointment to have them come out. And currently only the existing cannabis businesses that have temporary approval can participate in the program, provided that those businesses have obtained city permits and approvals. Next slide. We conducted a webinar alongside the health department back in April 28, 2022. It's still on our website. I encourage people to watch it. It has really good information as far as the checklist, the application process, and the critical items that the department looks at in order for our operators to pass that inspection. But they basically verify, and this is important because it affects the public health. So they check the general sanitation, equipment standards, water supply, produce. Well, we don't have any produce. Or maybe I guess, I don't know. And of course, the employee health and hygiene. Next slide. We developed an internal procedure to help our operators so that basically to streamline this process of verifying if the location where they're operating has gone through the plan check and permitting process through the Department of Building and Safety, to have a certificate of occupancy for that activity. So basically, DCR staff in the compliance and enforcement section performs the research for the operator. So we're taking that, that function, that task away from the operator. Otherwise, they would have to go to and do the research through Building and Safety, pay for that, wait, however long it takes, get it back, send it to Building and Safety. So we cut all that out, and we trained our staff to do it, and they do all that research for the operator. We then communicate and transmit that research to the Department of Building and Safety, along with a form that Building and Safety reviews. And if they agree that the research is evidence of it matches the use that we are seeking permission for, then they sign the form, they give it back to us, And then we communicate with the county, and the county accepts it and performs their inspection. So unfortunately, though, we can't really use the same process for the non-retailers. But we will be coming up with a separate process that I will share with this commission in the next couple of months, because so far we have only 3 businesses, I believe, that are non-retailers that have obtained their health permit. And so that is concerning to me, and obviously, no, it is a concern. Next slide. But as far as the retailers, the good news is that it is a little bit easier to obtain your health permit from the department, and also an emblem. We have up on the slide, there's only 28. This is a slide that I prepared back in July. Since then, I believe there's probably another 10 or 12 more businesses that have obtained an emblem. Still, we have a long way to go, but hoping that through communications, we will be able to get more people in the pipeline so they can get their emblem and display it. Next slide. This is another thing we're working on in our section is, and I know I've brought this up before, is revamping, like we redesigned the complaint portal to make it more user-friendly for the public, better for us in the back office to be able to run reports, and really get a picture of what's going on in the city with complaints. So we went from, I don't know, it was like 20 different things that you had to, click buttons and check and type in and upload. We went from that to 5 simple pages that the public, to go when they want to submit a complaint, much easier. So these are just screenshots. I was hoping to actually show you live, but we still haven't rolled that into production just yet. So this is the first, when you want to submit a complaint, this is what you will see. Now we have 3 checkboxes where you can say, you're a member of the public, or you are with another agency. I wanted to make sure that if other agencies were reporting complaints to us, or, or to let us know that they've issued a notice to that business, I wanted to have a separate sort of a sub portal for them to give us that information. So we have that. Or if they just want to check the status of a complaint. This is also a new feature that wasn't there before. So if you submit a complaint and you want to know what's going on with your complaint, you can always come back and it'll give you the status. Next slide. Again, this is just a screenshot of the different forms that the public sees when they are trying to submit a complaint. Next slide. Free form, this is where you just, you talk about your complaint. You can just keep going. This is just, yeah. And I think there's one more. Yeah, and that's it. So I wanted to make it really simple for them. And again, also, what was really important to me was having this other sub portal for, I'm calling it a sub portal, but it's, I don't know if that's the right term, but it's for other agencies, like I said, to communicate with us. My thought is always, how am I going to see what we're doing? How am I going to run reports? How do I, what what agency is really taking up our time? So far, I can tell you the fire department has a lot of notices out there that we need to meet with and try to resolve here soon. Next slide. But at the end of the day, we have, this is when you submit a complaint, you get this, you get a notice back that gives you a complaint number. It tells you how to, come back and check the status. Before I came, there were a lot of complaints, just basically that we're not checking our complaints and they don't know, where the complaints are going. Now we have different statuses. If we update the status of a complaint, the complainant receives a notice that we've updated that status. If they provide us an email, they can also submit it anonymously. And if they have this number, they can still go back and check. So we've closed that gap. Yeah, this is a sample of an email that you get when you submit a complaint. This is the screenshot of the multi-agency complaint portal. So as you can see, you can other agencies will be able to just go in there, click that other checkbox and come in and submit their own complaint, which is not really a complaint. There's basically notice to us of actions that they've taken. And yeah, this is how you would come in and check back on a complaint that you have submitted in the past. And this is my pride and joy. Okay, because when we came to the department, I came to the department in 2019, and we had this complaint portal and with a lot of complaints. And as you know, we were audited and we had all these complaints outstanding. So my boss said, Rocky, you got to do something about this. So I went to Jason and asked him for staff, and he graciously let me borrow some of his staff and licensing alongside the staff in the complaint and the compliance team. Right before Christmas, they buckled down and they went through all the complaints, and we were able to close, as you can see, over 4,000 complaints. A lot of them were, unfortunately, they were duplicates or they had nothing to do with cannabis. They belonged to other jurisdictions. So we would, or, there were things that we could address quickly. And we did that. So that was the 4,389 complaints. We then referred all the complaints that of locations where people were complaining, that there was cannabis activity going on. If, we check if they had if they were authorized to operate. If they were not, we forward those to LAPD. And then everything else where there might be a potential violation, we refer back to us. And so that's the 481 number that you see there. These are complaints that we need to, investigate and take some sort of action on. And then this is as of, I believe this is as of last week. We had 21 that were open. We still need to triage. But I feel really good about this. Before we can do a lot of the, the investigations, there's also going to be a period of time where we have to, train staff. So, we're almost there. Staff has been going through some serious training. We've been training with the state on the metric system. We're going to have, at the end of that, we're going to have over 24 hours of training just on this one program. In addition to that, we're looking to send staff to 40 hours of training that's on safety, like tactical training, how to, de-escalate a situation, things like that. That's really important to me, that my staff feels safe and, confident when they go out and they talk to our operators, because unlike the licensing team, when they go out and they do their virtual inspections and they have like milk and cookies waiting for them, when my staff shows up, it may not be the same reception. So I really do want to, empower them to make sure that they're trained before they go out there, especially when, there's following a complaint. Is there another slide? No. So I'm open for questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I do have a question regarding the emblem process. And I know it's early in the distribution stage, but such a low number.
Yeah. We learn our lessons, right? When we first met with the county, we talked about it and we rolled it out as a voluntary program. It's not a requirement, it wasn't a requirement. It wasn't in the code. It's codified now. Now you need an emblem. I'm sorry, you need a health department permit to operate. And that is something that we are, we're working on perhaps changing some of the the regs to, be more explicit about this requirement. Maybe put out some timelines, but I think that, it's because initially we rolled it out as a volunteer program. However, I am hopeful as far as the emblem and the retailers. I think if we get the word out, that we'll be able to get that number a little bit higher, especially because, and if anybody's listening, especially because the next renewal cycle is going to be really, really important. Our retailers will need to have this health department permit and the emblem to renew in 2025. So they have about a year and a few months to get those permits. The problem is, a lot of our operators, I don't think know the process going to building and safety, submitting those plans. It is costly. It does take a long time, but it has to be done. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get their health department permit and become operational.
I think that as more and more consumers become aware that the emblem program is active, that market forces will also influence some of the retailers who
Yeah,
don't have their emblems yet, because customers will go where they see the emblems and avoid where
right.
they don't see them because they're concerned about product quality and
Yes.
safety.
Yes, I look for it. On our website, we just put the list, not only of the locations that have received the emblem, but also the locations that are eligible to request that site evaluation. We have over 100 businesses that should be calling. They're there. We did the research, building and safety signed off, so all they have to do is call and get that appointment. And the difference between this alternative process that the county came up with to help us is huge. I mean, to do a site evaluation per activity is $334. If you have all 4 activities, you have less than $1,000 to get the site evaluation started and eventually get your health permit. There is another fee for the health permit, but that's the initial cost. If you don't do this, and the county decides to, and they can, right now, they don't have a sunset date as far as when they're going to stop the site evaluation, offering this sort of modified process. They haven't put a sunset on that, but they may. When they do that, if and when they do that, the cost will go to, on the low side, because it depends when you submit for plan check, it depends on the activity. And it depends on the size of your business. But on the low end, if you have all 4 activities, it would be close to $8,000. So you're looking at under $1,000 to close to $8,000 for the same exact thing. So I think if we get that message out, people, hopefully that'll be an incentive, right? And that's on the low end. It could go up to $12,000-$15,000 just to get that plan check.
Get in while it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions?
Just Commissioner Lim here. In regards to progressive discipline, does it depend on the violation to see whether it's going to go through notice to correct versus notice to suspend, or all violations go through the progressive discipline?
We'd like to implement progressive enforcement, whenever we're looking at any case. But of course, every case is different. If we see something, like I said, that it's an imminent, or it's like a major violation, it would be hard for us to issue a notice to correct. Right. When we were thinking about implementing this, we were thinking a notice to correct would be something like, if you change your DBA and you didn't submit your modification, like paperwork, right, where we can correct, because the regulations say that is a violation. Charging $7,000, which is the minor violation for you not doing some paperwork, just, so we're trying to fit the violation to the fine, while giving people a little bit of time, like a learning curve, right, to learn that we're here, because we are a new section, and our operators may be don't know that we're around, that we're starting to do this. It might be a shock when they receive a, notice to correct or a notice of violation. So we're giving people a little time to get used to the idea. But, at some point, we're going to have to pull that trigger, and it's not going to be fun, but it's necessary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, I'd like to thank all of the program directors for their very, very thorough and informative presentations today. Before we adjourn, I would like to say a few words to former President On. So I was sitting here and I
There
was
an election or something?
kind of sort of. Your history, now I'm playing. So I was thinking about what exemplary leadership is. So I asked Mr. Google, and it pulled up this article from the Leadership Challenge written by Jim Coos and Barry Posner. And it talks about when leaders experience their personal best, they display 5 core practices. And I think these all apply to you.
I'm gonna write these down.
Yeah, you do that.
Go ahead.
Take notes. Okay. Number 1, they model the way.
Mhm.
Robert has been the example of poise and cool under fire. My first time sitting in this room, the frustration with this program was so thick you could reach out and grab it. And Commissioner On just led us and didn't falter, didn't respond in anger, but kept his cool and kept his poise under fire for almost a year. So you achieved that. You get an A there, so you can write that down on your, since you're taking notes, okay? Inspire, leaders experience their personal best when they inspire a shared vision. And I know that with each person who has served on this commission, with members of the department, in spaces outside of DCR, Commissioner On has worked really hard to share the vision, to inspire the vision, to expand the vision when necessary. So you get an A there. Go on and write it down.
Man, where were you during college?
Challenge the process. He has certainly done that. He has certainly amplified criticisms or constructive feedback. Let me not say criticisms, but constructive feedback of suggestions when necessary. So you get an A there. He's enabled others to act, again, by reaching out to each new commissioner. I personally appreciate the time he spent with me in the beginning because I was entering into a space that was completely foreign to me. This commission had been active for about a year, and things were just pretty much in its formative years. And then basically, if you equate this to childbirth, there were a lot of labor pains going on. And Commissioner On really did just enable me by informing me of what was happening and what the vision was, and how I could insert myself into this commission and be of value to the city. So I thank you for that. And finally, so you get another A. I'll give you an A+ on that one because it's personal. And finally, leaders experience their personal best when they encourage the heart. And I have definitely been encouraged by Commissioner On's presence. I think we all have felt his leadership in our spirits at one point or another. And so I just want to say thank you for being exemplary Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your tutelage. Thank you for your
Thank you
service.
so much.
And I'm honored to step into your shoes. Hopefully, they're not too big for me to fill. And I hope that when I'm finished, my successor is able to say some of these same things about me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Mason. I didn't expect all that. First of all, let me apologize. I had a personal emergency, so that's why I was late, but I really wanted to be here in person. Actually, I wanted to nominate you because I believe that, I was looking back, it's been 6 long years. I was actually confirmed along with Cat Packer way back in 2017. Back in the beginning, we only had 3 employees at the time. We had more commissioners than employees at the time. Can you believe that? And to see where this department what it has become, how it has grown, and certainly there were a lot of, you call it labor pains. I think it's very appropriate. I mean, it was very difficult and challenging at times in the beginning, but we got to this point, and it was really the effort of the entire village that we have here, starting from, I'm looking at Michelle, Jason, all of the executive team, all of the staff that put so much time and effort into this under very difficult circumstances. So I want to first of all thank all of you guys in the department for all of your hard work. And oftentimes it was very thankless work, but you withstood all of that, and we got to where we got to. And a lot of people want to focus on the things that went wrong, all the delays, but not enough attention really has been focused on the things that went right. We did a lot of great things during the last 6 years, and that's really a result of all of your hard work. And so I want to thank you for that. But yeah, now is a good time. I think it's an appropriate and opportune time for a change in leadership. And so, President Mason, I want to congratulate you. And I know through the various conversations that we had, many of them offline, that we share a lot of the same values, a lot of the same principles, and a lot of the vision. And so I really can't think of a better person to take on the mantle and lead the commission in this next phase, especially as we're approaching the annual licensing. And there's so much work to be done. But I'd like to see this commission really continue to play an active role, be more active actually. And as we're continuing to promote concepts and principles like equity and inclusion, I'd like to see it done in a very, implementing some common sense and business sense, and making sure that we're always thinking about who we work for. And that's really the people of the city of Los Angeles, but in particular, the applicants and the licensees. And in many cases, I feel that for various reasons, we fell short in many cases. There's a lot of folks that are having hardships, and we need to make sure that we are always working on behalf of those folks, solving their problems, solving their issues, because we want them to succeed. So with that, I just want to thank you again for being there. You've been serving as vice president for many years now, and I think it's time for you to take the helm and really take this to the next level. So I really appreciate your friendship over the years, your counsel, which has been very vital. So thank you again. And to the new commissioners, want to welcome you. You're coming at a great time. And so I'll still be here to support the commission, to support the new leadership, and to work together, continue to work together to make sure that we are able to elevate the commission and the department, and to continue to implement the vision of the city, the mayor, and the council. So thank you again.
Thank you. Any final thoughts, Ms. Garakian?
Yes. I look at both of you and I see two very caring individuals and people who really believe in what we're trying to accomplish here. There have been hard times. But I think both of you have been able to navigate those times with aplomb and grace and sensibility. But not forgetting what Commissioner On talked about is remembering who we work for. We work for and on behalf of the applicants and the licensees. I mean, that's what we've tried to do for the past 2 years is really pivot that approach here at the department. And I think that is a result of both of your leadership. Again, I'm so happy to have you join as our president. It's makes perfect sense. And Commissioner On, it has been an absolute pleasure and honor to work for you and with you. I don't know what we would have done without you. So with that, thank you very much. I know we'll see you more, but you're a legend. So thank you.
Absolutely, a part of history whose shoulders we stand on.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, this meeting is now adjourned. The time is 4:05.